By now, you've likely heard about Sandra Bland. She was pulled over for failure to signal a lane change, but the situation quickly escalated, and she was arrested and sent to jail and was found hanging in her jail cell. An autopsy confirmed her death was a suicide. So what are your rights when you get pulled over by police? Well, I sat down with Cedric Alexander. He's the public safety director in DeKalb County, Georgia. He had some advice on what you can do to keep the situation under control.
It is very important at any time that you are stopped by a law enforcement official is that if they ask you to do something within reason, there's nothing wrong with complying with that. It's just called the spirit of cooperation. That's simply all it is. Did he have the right, and in this case, but not speaking specifically in this case, if you had to say, well, can I search your car? Absolutely not. If he has no reason, no reasonable cause or probable cause, you don't have to let anyone search your car. Now, if he had some reasonable cause because he smelled marijuana or was suspicious of something in which he could articulate and call over a canine dog and then found drugs in the car, that's something entirely different. He's able to detain her, right? So it becomes a matter of judgment. But if you're pulled over, officer asks you for your registration and driver's license, you don't say, no, I'm not giving them to you. You give them your driver's license and your registration.
If you're asked to get out of the car, you should get out of the car.
And if you're asked to get out of the car.
What if you don't feel safe?
Well, if you don't feel safe, say to the officer, I don't feel safe. Could you have a supervisor come by? Could you have another female officer come by? Should you be a female? But the whole idea is don't create this unnecessary controversy yourself. Because police officers are trained to stop vehicles, to approach vehicles very cautiously because they don't know who's driving that car, where they're coming from, where they're going to. So we have to respect the aspect of their own personal safety. But if you're asked to roll your window down, roll your window down. If you ask, can I have your driver's license? Give your driver's license. Ma'am, sir, would you step out of the side of the car? Just comply and step outside of the car. If the officer becomes rude or belligerent towards you, then you make a complaint. But don't try to fight that battle out there on the street. As simple as that. But in this particular case, he did nothing from the footage that we're seeing, he did nothing here to de-escalate this, when he very simply could have came back up to the car, giving her her warning, slow down, have a nice day, and going on about his business. Building relationships is something that is ongoing all the time. It does not have an end point. But being able to be engaged in your community, being able to have a sense of trust that the community has in you and you have in your community as well too, is so vital and important to public safety. Because when you have a police department that is respectful of the citizenry in which it serves, and you have a community that is respectful of the police officers and the tough job that they have to do, that is a joint effort.
It's a relationship. And it seems that relationship in some places is broken. And there are some people that are saying, what can be done to fix it?
Well, the question,
and how many times
absolutely,
do I have to have a feeling come up before it's fixed?
That's right. And the questions are constantly asked. Those same questions are continually asked. But we have to move now beyond the questions and start seeking some answers. It's very easy to point out what the issues are, even in the video we just saw. But what do we do going forward in our communities to help change those perceptions, to help change those feelings, to help bridge those relationships between police and community? And what I encourage, and we're encouraging being part of the President's 21st Century Task Force, is that if you pull down that document, inside that document are 59 wonderful recommendations that's broken down into 6 individual pillars, or chapters, as some people may refer to them as. And in there, what you're going to find is ways in which to enhance and build relationships in communities. And also it looks like training, it looks at recruitment, it looks at all of the elements that are so important to enhance public safety across this country. It is not the Bible, if you will, but it is a starting point.
We're recognizing something.
It is a jumping off point and somewhere to start.
If this is what I'm understanding correctly, there are two sides to this. The community, if they have a viewpoint of police that's more trusting, maybe they won't run.
Right.
Or maybe they will get out of the car. If I'm the police officer and I have a more trusting sense of the community,
Right.
they won't pull a taser. They won't immediately order you out of the car.
Right.
Those two sides both need work done.
Absolutely. But it has to be built on respect. And we have to respect the authority that police officers have in this country. And police officers in this country also have to respect the citizenry in which we serve, regardless of who they are or where they live and what their economic status may happen to be. It is a joint venture. It is a joint relationship that has to be worked on and bridged every day. And there are a lot of departments across this country who are doing a great job at building those relationships. But yet and still, we know that there are departments that are more challenged than others, and they're working in that direction.
Some real problems and some real emotions here
Yes.
as well. Cedric Alexander, we appreciate you being with us.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me.